Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on True Confessions Naija, where we reveal stories that will leave you speechless and reflective. Today, I share a confession sent to us by a dear brother, KJ from Nigeria. It's a story of dreams, desperation, loyalty, darkness, sacrifice, and above all, the heavy price paid for choosing the wrong path to wealth. And the message reads like this. Hello, Bros Ori. I'm so grateful I can share my confession here on this platform. My name is KJ. I was born in Nigeria, not to luxury, but to lack. My earliest memories were of unbroken. We never had much, clothes faded, bellies half full, but we had a stubborn hope, a belief that if we just worked hard enough, our story will change. Growing up, I would stare at photos of the big men in town, men who wore expensive shoes and drove fancy cars. I swore I would become one of them. I promised my mother I would give her a house. People like us, poor boys from broken towns, only had two options: surrender to fate or fight it by any means necessary. That fight took me overseas. I got the opportunity to go to South Africa on a student visa as a volunteer. Packing my single suitcase, leaving my crying mother and stoic father, I left behind everything familiar for a new beginning. Arriving in Johannesburg was a shock. As the taxi sped through the city, I saw mansions and skyscrapers, but also people sleeping on the streets, hungry, searching bins for scraps. So South Africa had its own poor. I always thought prosperity waited for anyone with courage. Still, I was optimistic. But then reality hit. It was harder to find opportunities than I thought. At first, I tried selling recharge cards, doing odd jobs, but money ran out fast. My student visa barely covered tuition, and soon I was dodging my landlord. Everyone back home waited for my big break, but I was barely scraping by. To make things worse, I had brought along baggage from Nigeria. My loyalty to the campus gang I joined during the university days where I'm from. Almost every young man in school joins a crew, not out of a need for violence, but survival and respect. Leaving them, even across borders, was not an option. The ties went too deep. In Joburg, I met fellow Nigerians, some hustling legit, some involved in grey areas. My gang brothers connected me to small businesses. Nothing violent, but with edges I wasn't comfortable with. I was scared of being a criminal. I couldn't peddle drugs, do fraud, or trick innocent people. It just wasn't in me. But as a loyal member, I had to take what came my way and accept a cut that went mostly to our leader. One night, in a bar filled with laughter and music, while I sipped a cheap beer, a stranger sat beside me. He was calm, quiet, not like the boastful guys around him. Our eyes met, and to my surprise, he noticed the small worn-out King James Bible peeking from my pocket. "That's a curious thing to carry in this life," he whispered. His voice was almost kind. What was a gang-affiliated Nigerian doing with a Bible? My mouth slipped. I told him how at night, the only way I could sleep was praying and reading a few verses. Feeling the hollowness inside, I confessed my fears, my guilt, especially watching the drugs we hustle destroy lives on campus, seeing myself as no better than the poverty I had left behind. The man told me he belonged to a secret brotherhood. He said he had seen my struggle, so that I wasn't like the others. He said there's another way, one where you don't have to hurt anyone, you don't have to get your hands dirty. At first, I thought he was running a 419 scam, but something about him, his aura, his certainty, kept me listening. He told me about a ritual that could give me unimaginable wealth, but it came at a terrifying price. There is a God, not the one in your Bible, but one that gives real riches. He warned the catch. I'll have to bear a mark, a wound. It will never heal, and the money will come with rules, especially one. I could never give a cent to anyone related to me by blood. My mind raced. Was this any different from the danger of crime? How was this offer not just another kind of prison? He asked me to think. If I didn't want the darkness to pick the location of my wound, I could instead choose, but then I must nominate 4 relatives for potential sacrifice. The God who selects one. For nights, I agonized over the choice, the poverty I left behind, the pressure from home, the faces of my sisters and brothers, my dream of lifting my family, all war against the chill in my bones. In the end, desperation won. I agreed to the ritual, taken to a grand house, disguised as nothing on the outside. An airy calm settled in my guts as the ritual began. Candles, strange symbols, old masked men chanting a language I'd never heard. I felt the bite of the cold blade as it cut my skin. The pain was sharp, but nothing compared to what came next. I nominated 2 sisters, one uncle, one brother-in-law, the gods who pick. When they called out my sister's name, my heart broke. They said she was chosen because her faith had weakened, making her an easy prey. They warned me if my sister became prayerful again, the truth of my deal would be revealed to her family. Now, if she died, it would always haunt me. The ritual ended with me being given a small python, a spiritual snake. They said that whenever I needed money, I could summon it. It would vomit cash, but then I had to let it feed by licking the wound located in a place I chose in between my buttocks where no one could see. From then on, life was never the same. Money poured in. I rented luxury apartments, bought expensive clothes, and had the best cars. But I learned the cruel catch immediately. I could only spend on myself and friends, not a dime for my family back home. I surrounded myself with other West Africans, keeping them close. I spoiled South African slave queens, 3 of whom became my trusted ones. I told them I had a strange wound, never letting them know the dark truth. I gave them money to perform a ritual, licking my wound, accounting for the snake's demands. They thought it was a fetish. I let them believe whatever made sense, so long as the pact was continued and my secret was safe. With all my success, I felt empty. I missed my family deeply, but each time they called me and asked for help, I had to lie. Sometimes I'll go online on Facebook, Bado Tinder to find other women, often using spiritual charms to make them do what I wanted. It got easier to lie, but it never got less painful. With every long night, my soul grew heavier. The wound was always fresh, cold, and angry, leaking pain into my life. Sometimes it ached so badly, especially during cold winters in Joburg, that I'll cry in private. No amount of money made it better. I avoid churches, skip sermons, blocked anything Christian or uplifting. The guilt was too much. Having traded my soul for wealth, I realized I was more of a prisoner now than I ever was in poverty. Every so often, while looking in the mirror, I'll see my younger self, the boy holding dreams for his family, looking back at me with disappointment. I thought leaving Nigeria, leaving poverty, meant leaving suffering behind. Instead, I only deepened it. Money bought me expensive things, but not the peace I lost. My story is a warning. The shortcuts you take to escape suffering can trap you in suffering far worse. One wound was all it took to change my life forever. So dear listeners, don't envy people who seem to have it all. Some fortunes come wrapped in curses. My confession is not just a story, it's a plea. No matter how bad your struggle gets, don't trade your soul, your family, or your peace. Some roads once taken can never be reversed. Thank you for listening to True Confessions Naija. If this story touched you or made you think, share with others. You never know whose life it might save. I'll be watching out for the comment sections for advice. Kindly let me know when it is posted. Dear listeners, right there is a message that was sent to me by one of our brothers. Things they really happen for this our world. Now wow.